Of AMA Motocross, coming to you from Glen, Helen Raceway. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Davey Coombs with you. Damon Bradshaw getting ready right there at the gate.
Wearing the vented jersey. Pretty hot today. A lot of the guys changing outfits, cutting holes in their jerseys. You see the mesh there on Albertines. Checking his goggles. These guys start off with a lot of tearaways. They always build them with a lot of tearaways, and then depending on the conditions and how confident they are about the start, they'll tear a few off.
Looking at the concrete starting pad, Jeff Emig, and there's Jeremy McGrath. McGrath not at 100% here today.
Tuesday night, I went out to dinner, and we had a golf tournament that day, Phil Lawrence's golf tournament, and some stuff fell off the table, and I stepped on a broken glass, and I only had thongs on, so it spun up and cut me in the back of the ankle.
Little nonchalant. It was a big gash, actually, that took stitches. Jeff Emig comes into this round with a 22-point lead over Jeremy McGrath. Ward in third, Dowd and Albertine rounding out that top five as we get set for our first moto of action. Of course, last year it was Jeremy McGrath with the great start, David.
He had won all the motos through this round, the first six, and it was Jeff Emig playing catch-up.
They're off and running. Let's see who gets the hole shot. Henry, number 20, on the four-stroke. Jeff Emig right next to him there. Also Lusk, McGrath, Hughes getting good starts, but it's Henry up the hill in the lead.
So they figured out.
Oh, going down is Ezra Lusk.
Boy, what a tough break right there, going down right there in the early part of the race. I've always mentioned this. You go down early like that, everyone gets around you. If he could have waited to the second or third lap, he might have only lost a position or two.
Looked like he just ticked the rear tire of Emig.
Yep. And we finally figured out what it's going to take to somebody to beat Emig off the line. You got to bring a four-stroke out here.
400 cc's, right?
Jeez.
New rules, of course, to get it integrated into Supercross and Motocross. McGrath has moved into third, but look at the lead here early that Doug Henry has on Jeff Emig.
That thing almost sounds like it's not running right. The sound is so different. But believe me, he's put plenty of hours riding this bike. He's had so much testing time. He's very comfortable on it.
Yamaha crews telling us that at times he's worked from 8 in the morning all the way to 6 o'clock at night. 4 days in a row testing this machine.
Well, that should give you an idea of Doug Henry's desire and work ethic. That's how you come back from a crash like the one he had in Budds Creek.
Henry, number 20, in front of number 1. Jeff Emig, the defending champion. Jeremy McGrath real close to Emig now. And there's John Dowd, number 14, who took a second place overall here last year in the 125s.
Lusk just going by. He'd have been up there third or fourth if he hadn't crashed, dropping back around 10th place.
First lap completed. Doug Henry with a sizable lead. David, it'll be interesting to see about the endurance factor because it is a heavier bike, and Doug Henry's coming off injury that took him out of the Supercross points chase.
And this track is getting rougher and rougher as the day goes on, plus those downhills starting to get really choppy coming down. Picking lines is more important, and like you said, that bike's a little heavier to throw around, and it'll be a little more taxing for Doug to ride that bike versus the two-stroke.
Emig and McGrath second and third as you get a good idea what a great layout this is for the fans. Just pick your corner and root for your favorite rider.
Now, the way it's set up with the hills, too, they can see from anywhere on the racetrack because those hills are so tall. They can see some of the racing going on up there, and then down in the lower sections, it winds around. They get a good view of the entire track.
Doug Henry with about a 3-second lead on Emig. Dowd and Bradshaw rounding out the top 5. We'll be back. AMA Motocross on ESPN2 is being brought to you by Dunlop. Simply the best for your bike. Welcome back to Glen Helen Raceway near San Bernardino. Doug Henry is our leader. But when we were away, Jeff Emig starting to pick up the chase.
Well, I think he'd like to move around Doug and put a rider between himself and McGrath, who's just as Emig has closed in on Henry, McGrath has closed in on the both of them.
Here comes Emig on the outside. Doug Henry trying to hold on to the lead here with our first moto of 250s. Whoa, Doug Henry slowing up a bit. Emig takes the lead.
Well, that was just a mistake right there by Henry that allowed Emig to get in there and take the line. make that pass. Doug went to the outside, which wasn't too bad of an idea. He had the lead on Emig, coming right back. Not going to let him off the hook yet, but made a mistake exiting that corner. Wasn't able to get in the rut he needed. Emig went right by.
To the benefit, David, of Jeremy McGrath, who's pulled up a little closer in third. One mistake by these guys, and Jeremy's right there.
Well, I think you're going to see a great battle here. It's not over yet, because Henry is faster in places on the racetrack. When they get that long uphill, look for that four-stroke to out-horsepower him.
Jeff Emig has looked just fabulous this motocross season. He won the championship last year, of course, we mentioned that. But in 1995, he was in second place, 60 points behind the champion McGrath. So from second to first, and he's trying to regain that title this year. In Supercross, it's interesting. He's in line for the championship, of course, with the last race coming up in Las Vegas. But each year, he's improved one spot, going from fourth to third to second, and then this year's got a chance for the championship. So he takes it step by step.
And he's worked his way right into a great position here today so far. Worked his way into the lead around the four-stroke. Hasn't been easy for people to do. Jeremy will find out here in pretty quick as he tries to work around Henry to try to have any shot at Jeff Emig.
Right now, Henry's starting to put more pressure on Emig. It's obvious this four-stroke power is a great advantage, and Henry cuts to the inside, retaking the lead. One of the best battles we've had so far in the young season for first place.
That was an aggressive move. Look at Henry just letting that bike dance all around. He didn't even get into that corner set yet. He already pitched it sideways, was right back on the gas, made that pass. I think Emig's got to be going, geez.
Henry had the inside line, looked like an easy time of it, but Emig cut on a dime to make it close. Whoa, look at the roost.
It looks obvious that Emig wants to get around Henry and try to get him between himself and McGrath right now. Try to pull away, put more points on that lead.
What an admirable job by Henry. We talked with him earlier about the time and effort he's put into this four-stroke machine.
I want to go out there and win on this thing. I know it could do it. And I think a little bit, once I get used to it a little bit more, I'll be able to save some energy out there and not really get as tired as I am. And I'll be able to go out there and run two strong motos.
Well, so far in Moto number 1, you can see how strong it is. We've got a great battle for first. Henry to the inside. Emig now cuts in. Emig using a lot more track against the powerful four-stroke.
It just is amazing to me that a four-stroke is holding off the best riders in the world, but of course we got one of the best riders in the world on it. I guess that's the difference. First time I ever saw anyone ride a four-stroke was Mike Young, and it just blew my mind. I saw him in a race in Carlsbad, and he came around the first lap in a full lock slide through this whoop section and just didn't swap at all, and he pulled away and won there. And I was so impressed with how fast these guys went on those bikes, and now we're seeing Doug do it. And by the way, I want to wish Mike Young well. He was injured here not too long ago.
Cutting to the inside, retaking the lead is Jeff Emig. Emig and Henry, a back and forth battle. That's McGrath in third.
Listen to that four-stroke. You can hear him coming down the hill, all that compression.
And going up the hill, bar to bar.
Henry with a good drive around the bottom, had the horsepower going up the hill, but Emig just cut him off.
Boy, coming down that hill, you've got to use braking, you got to use good technique more than speed. But look at this, Doug Henry now back on the throttle, going to the outside. Oh, what a great race for the fans. Emig still in first.
They're wide open around that sweeper. That was smart for Emig to try to cut him off, and just as smart for Henry to go, okay, well, I got him on the inside last time. Maybe he won't expect me to hold it wide open and pass him on the outside. Emig had just enough of a lead to control that line.
Jeff Emig now starting to get a little breathing room on Doug Henry. You can see there what it might be like if you're behind a bike as that roost comes up and sandblasts you. Emig, Henry, McGrath, our top three. Albertine moving into fifth. We are back with the action from Glen, Helen Raceway. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Davey Coombs. Looking right now at number 1. Jeff Emig, last year's champion, has taken the lead away from Doug Henry on a great back and forth battle. Lasted about 5 minutes. of intense action, and now Emig is starting to draw some space between him and Henry.
Now Henry's left back there to battle with McGrath. It took a long time for Emig to work his way around Henry. I'm anxious to see if McGrath can do the same. He's not 100%, so Henry may have the edge there.
Meanwhile, there's a battle going on for 4. Greg Albertine, number 8, Team Suzuki, against the Team Yamaha of John Dowd, number 14.
Dowd up into the 250 class. I think he belongs in this class. He did a great job on the 125s last year, but this is the class where I think he can really shine, use some of his strength.
They're pulling up on McGrath. Both riders are making a move toward 3rd. There's Albertine cutting in front of Dowd.
It's hard to know all the way down that straightaway if you've had the pass made or not till you actually get to the corner there. They were about side by side all the way through there, but Albertine left it on just a little longer to make that pass.
John Dowd, always a strong finisher in motocross. Albertine coming off one of his best days ever, winning in Hangtown.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I've got my old spark and my confidence back. You know, I feel like I did when I was in Europe, when I was winning the world titles, just on top of things and just invincible. And I've only won 1 national, but I'm feeling that way and feeling very positive for today.
His first win this year. He has 2 national wins, winning at Unadilla last year. This has turned into the battle for 2nd place right now as Doug Henry has slipped back, and Jeremy McGrath and Greg Albertine are starting to pull up and make a good battle of it here.
Well, McGrath has actually been trying to get around Henry for a while now, ever since Emig did. McGrath moved up to the rear wheel and just hasn't had any luck trying to get around. Look at him here trying different lines, and he almost gave up a good line to Albertine, who does a little swap there. But this has happened to me. You try to get around a guy and you just try everything and you can't do it, and then guys start catching you, and eventually the wind's out of your sails. You're like, geez, you try. I can't get around this guy.
It looks like that tremendous battle for the lead took a little bit out of Henry. Here comes Albertine on the inside to challenge his Suzuki teammate.
Well, Albertine has just been, well, look at that, around the outside, wide open.
What a power move by Albertine.
There's not much room down there. That's one of the most sketchy places on the racetrack, about like this downhill here, to try to make a pass, and Albie, he's going for it. I don't think McGrath is 100%, and you can see it right now. That's the effects. It's the difference between having nothing wrong, having the confidence that Albertine just spoke of, and Jeremy.
Well, David, you can have a little dinger too, and after a race like this, you feel it big time.
Absolutely. Jeremy is just not on his game right now, and the competition, just like we saw in the 125 class earlier, is just a little thicker now.
Albertine moves into 2nd place. So it's Albertine, Henry, and McGrath behind Jeff Emig.
Look at this battle, too. These guys are pushing it to the limit. Albie is really riding strong right now. Henry hasn't really made any mistakes. He's just had guys riding fantastic come up and get around him, and Emig is leading this battle. He is pulled away, so Emig is riding fantastic.
Getting around the lappers that are pulling out of the way. Greg Albertine would love to pick up some time on Emig, but Emig is just riding his race out front. Very smooth, very controlled, keeping the times right where he wants them to be in the lead. And Albertine's got a long way to go to catch him. Question right now is, can Jeremy McGrath get by Henry? He tried before the Albertine pass. Henry getting caught up a little bit.
Looks to me like right now Jeremy's just trying to stay close to these guys. He knows it's going to be a long day. There's another 30-minute moto to come, and I think he's just trying to make sure that he can make it through the day with that foot.
Tries to cut inside on Henry, makes the pass, but Henry might come back. Hold your hat.
Oh, Henry hasn't given up before. When Emig got around, he got right back by him. Watch Jeremy changes his mind, goes all the way to the inside. Great move. Henry had nowhere to go. He could have squared back across a little sooner, but Jeremy took a little extra time to get around that berm to make sure he didn't have that option.
So Team Suzuki's Greg Albertine in 2nd, Knack Knack Racing Suzuki in 3rd. The Team Yamaha's 4-stroke now in 4th. Look at the rock there. These rocks are starting to come up as this racing continues. Emig, Albertine, McGrath, Henry, and Dowd in 5th place. More 250 action from Glen, Helen in a moment.
On an earlier show, we discussed vital pit signals that a mechanic should share with his rider. Today, we'd like to share some more tips from Team Honda on the best use of a pit board. Remember, the rider needs to be informed of his position, distance from the leaders, and number of laps left. But he also needs motivation. As the person at the pit board, your primary purpose is to inform and motivate your rider to his best finish. Sometimes it's very lonely for a racer out on the track, and your signals are the only communications he gets. It's up to you to know what words or phrases will motivate him. Also, hold that board low, below the waist, so your rider doesn't have to look up to read it. By keeping the board low, your rider can concentrate on the racetrack. And lastly, at Team Honda, we believe in being accommodating and respectful to the other people trying to signal their own riders. After your rider goes by, step back and make room.
And our thanks to Joe Columbero for that Honda riding tip as we rejoin the action. This is our leader, Jeff Emig, and you couldn't look more smooth than this guy right here right now, David.
He's earned that right. Just like Carmichael in the 125 class, cruising that last lap. Emig still charging pretty hard right here. Looks like, but he has just run away with this moto. Great battle in the beginning, and he won that battle, and now he can smile between motos knowing that his points lead's even bigger.
Jeff's got the type of lead right now to take something disastrous to lose this first moto.
You never know in motocross. Could be the very end, especially when you start to slow your pace down just a little bit. You start hitting holes you haven't hit in the rest of the race when you're going up to speed. But right now he's pretty on top of things. He's just waving to the crowd and soaking up the moment.
Do you have a couple that you thought you had it made that didn't turn out that way?
Yeah, one time I was leading a Supercross in Paris and just let the front end wash out, and that was that. You know, I could have won another one over there and maybe been the winningest rider in Paris because I lost a couple of them that way. But out here in the outdoors, things happen a little slower.
Emig with 20 AMA wins, looking for number 21.
You can hear him use the clutch right there coming out of that corner, build that big burst of power, get over that little double jump.
And the checkers, the winner of Moto number 1 for the 250s, Jeff Emig. He's on a hot streak. 4 out of 5 Moto victories for Jeff Emig so far this season. We take a look at the top 10 finishers. Albertine, a well-deserved 2nd place. John Dowd rounding out the top 5. Takeshi Kayoketa, the Japanese rider, rounding out the top 10.
All right, Jeff, congratulations. That was a solid ride from start to finish.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble with Doug. He's got a 400 cc's. It gets up the hill some.
Did you feel like he had an advantage on you going up those hills?
Yeah, he did off the start. I felt my bike run out of top end about 3/4 of the way down. Yeah, my bike's really good, you know, off the corners and off the gate, but you know, we just don't build it for this much top end.
Top end or not, he was successful, and another success for Greg Albertine, number 8, moving up the hill, climbing into 2nd place. He's with Davey now.
All right, Greg does a good solid ride, but it looked like you were a little tentative at the start.
Yeah, I really screwed up my start. I've never really raced on concrete starts before, so it was really tough for me to try and get used to it, and I got left way last on the gate.
Jeremy and Doug Henry are having a great battle for 2nd. It seemed like you snuck right up on them. Tell me how you made the passes.
Well, you know, I just wasn't really happy with my riding at all. I was riding very, very untidy, making a lot of mistakes, very stiff. So, you know, I just came up behind them and passed them one at a time.
Who will take the overall? Well, Moto number 2 will be coming up shortly. Rookie Dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it.
Don't tighten up here.
Here between motos, they're working on Jeremy McGrath's ankle, trying to get more flexibility. The injury actually on the backside of the ankle. Between Hangtown and Glen, Helen, the guys took time off for a game of golf at Phil Lawrence's golf tourney. Ever wonder what your favorite rider does between races? Welcome to Menifee Lakes Country Club, home of the first annual Phil Lawrence Golf Tournament. Last week, many of the top riders came out to this beautiful golf community to see who could really get the whole shot. Well, you know what I mean. Jimmy Button, Jeff Emig, Ryan Hughes, Greg Albertine, and the golf tournament's namesake were there, participating not for the money, but to have a little R&R amongst friends.
We all play golf pretty much. I mean, we all kind of hackers, but we do it. And we were saying, yeah, we should get everybody together between the two races, Glen, Helen, and Hangtown. And we just started talking, and yeah, what if we did this? What if we did that? And it ended up, you know, I came into my golf course here at Menifee Lakes and talked to the guys, and they said, yeah, no problem. And so I just put together a whole bunch of sponsors and stuff, and they gave me a lot of free product. And here it is. We've got about 60 people, and it's a lot of people in the industry. It's pretty fun. You know, it's everything for a good time.
Although these young men are amongst the best athletes in the world, it's obvious where their talents lie. Always an all-out competitor, Rhino sought some much-needed help. Rhino started off slow, but after some tips and a few more tries and a few more tips, he finally gets it.
Competition in golf, everybody. I'm a bit of a hacker, so, you know, I'm not looking to win any prizes, but as I said, just having fun.
Hi, I'm Jeff Emig. I ride for Team Kawasaki. I'm a points leader in Supercross and Motocross, but today I'm attempting to win at something that I'm not very good at, and that's golf.
Not only did the riders come out to have their time on the green, but Jack McGrath, Jeremy's dad, and Skip Norfolk thought that they'd show the youngsters how really to play this game.
By the ladies team.
No longer a mechanic, Skip has his future all planned out.
Well, as you can tell by that stroke, I play 4 or 5 times a week, and I'm getting better every weekend, I feel, and it's not going to be long. I'm looking forward to the senior tour. I've got 25 years before I'm going to be able to play, but I think my game will be up by that time.
Well, the game is really up right now as the 32nd board is sideways, getting set for Moto number 2 of the 250s. Can Jeff Emig do it again, keep that win streak alive? Let's see who gets the hole shot. On the inside, Buddy Antonez, number 19. There, Henry exited early into the hay bales. And it's Voss that's down in the center of the track. Out in front is Buddy Antonez, the Arena Cross champion.
Pretty good start for Mike LaRocco coming down the hill there.
Jeff Emig making the move on Buddy Antonez, coming up the hill, and it's Emig coming down the hill in the lead. So Emig, Antonez, Jeremy McGrath fighting for third. Amaradio and Dowd going at it. Dowd taking 4th position now.
Literally taking it, too. He just used Amaradio for a berm. Look at Albertine wide open around that sweeper and a full power slide.
Trying to get around his teammate, Mike LaRocco.
He's in much closer contact with the leaders than he was in the first moto.
Here's Larry Ward, number 6, after Albertine. But out in front and starting to gain another lead is Jeff Emig. Boy, that was a lucky break for Emig. That 4-stroke wasn't up there.
That'll be a relief for him not to be dicing it with that bike with more horsepower for a change. And also another relief just to look over his shoulder and see Antonez still in second, his friend. I think if Jeremy and some of the guys that can come up and challenge Emig, by the time they work their way around Antonez, if they can, that should give a pretty good little lead to Emig.
Antonez experienced enough to take the right line away and hold him up, that's for sure. Buddy Antonez with his bonus from Arena Cross, buying a boat, and Emig plans to spend 7 straight days on that boat when they get their first break coming up in a couple of weeks.
People always ask me, how come you don't have a boat? I go, because I have a friend that has a boat. I don't need one.
And that's the best way, too, isn't it? Yes, finance-wise. Here's Jeremy McGrath taking the inside and goes through that huge rut to take 2nd place.
Good idea there. Antonez went wide. Didn't have quite enough of a lead to be able to go out and use that line. That's not a bad line to take, but you got Jeremy breathing down your neck. You might want to protect the inside. Here comes Albertine again to the inside.
Albertine hesitating a little bit. He just passed John Dowd a corner before, and Dowd tries to come back on him.
Dowd, a pretty good ride in that first moto, coming from behind, though. Looks a lot better this time. All these guys have a pretty good idea of where Emig is. The first moto, by the time they got up into this spot, Emig was gone.
Albertine just puts the throttle down and gets by for 3rd place, Buddy Antonez.
Albertine really aggressive right now as he went over that tunnel jump there, sat down in the air, put his leg out just to save a little bit more time, be ready for the corner when he landed. eliminate one step of those motions there just to be a little quicker.
Antonez feeling a little bit like a pincushion right now because Dowd is on him trying to make the pass.
If you get a great start like he did and you're not riding quite up to the pace of the leaders, it's not a good feeling in the first part of the race. Those guys come storming up to the sides of you and around you like Dowd just did. So in one lap, Buddy dropping from 1st to 5th, riding pretty good, but just not quite fast enough, and that's what'll happen.
Dowd, of course, a contender in the 125 East with 2 wins before a practice track injury took him out of the last 3 races. Back to the action now with Albertine guns it around the corner on McGrath. Whoa! Does a helicopter spin. There goes Dowd. There goes Antonez. By the time he gets up, there'll be 15 to 20 riders going by.
Watch this. He stays leaned into the corner. And the berm kind of disappeared. He didn't have any more traction. Lucky he didn't get hit by Jeremy. But he started into a full lock slide, and then it had nowhere to go but the high side. It went back the other way, and there was no chance for him to save that. Just hope he's okay.
Well, he's up and running anyways. We take a look at Jeremy McGrath and John Dowd. This is an interesting rivalry here. They really haven't had an opportunity to compete much against each other over the past few years. Lusk moving into 5th. We'll be back.
Back at Glen, Helen, California in 1996, McGrath grabs the hole shot in Moto 1 while Emig goes down with Phil Lawrence at the back of the pack and watches Emig tries to get going, runs into the flagger, spins it around and hits a back marker, spending all kinds of energy trying to get going, and would begin his charge from the back as McGrath out front was feeling the pressure from Albertine and lost the rear end at the top of the downhill. Albertine picking up the early lead, but McGrath kept the pressure on, and with a couple of laps to go, Albertine loses the front end and hands the lead back to McGrath as he captures Moto 1. In Moto 2, again, McGrath with the hole shot, and watch number 16, Albertine. Loses the front end, and here comes his teammate, number 8, Mike LaRocco, gets stuck in his bike, and both the Suzuki riders would have to come from behind. As number 2, Emig, works his way around Doug Henry and into 2nd place. And Albertine, who had gone down in the first lap, gone down again, collecting most of the fence in his rear wheel. He was out for the day as McGrath starts another streak, making it 6 for 6 in the outdoors.
If you go back to last year, that was the 11th consecutive Moto victory for Jeremy McGrath. Here's the big battle right now, and McGrath's got his hands full with John Dowd. This battle for 2nd place. Dowdy to the inside. Good, strong move.
Dowd just the more aggressive of the two right now, and I think that his body's got to be feeling a little bit better than Jeremy's. You saw Jeremy in between motos in the truck.
Wincing.
Yeah, he's, you know, and when you can't go out there and ride at tip-top, challenge somebody like Dowd who's riding as hard as he can when you've got problems. And right now, Jeremy just has to salvage the day and try to recoup before the next round.
Well, the question is, can Dowdy or anybody catch Jeff Emig, who's way out in front looking for a sweep here at Glen Helen?
The pace Dowd has, I would say absolutely. There's plenty of time for him to catch Emig, and the dangerous part about where Emig is, although he's gotten pretty used to it being out front, is that you don't have anybody to pace off of. So sometimes you can fall into a pace that's not fast enough. Somebody starts catching you, and it's hard to adjust.
You know, it looks, David, like Jeremy McGrath is having a great deal of trouble getting up on the balls of his feet on the pegs, that he's flat-footed the entire time.
Well, he has no flexibility there, so that's the real problem for Jeremy. He's got to ride a little bit different, and anytime you got to ride a little bit different, you know, there goes your speed.
His mechanic Wyatt Seals talking about breathing. Right now, he's just trying to hang on. As look out, here's Mike LaRocco, as well as Ezra Lusk. After going down early, Ezra Lusk is battling back, and he has to avoid the accident of Mike LaRocco. Mike LaRocco taking a hay bale.
Good reflexes by Lusk there. He was in the air over that double jump and was able to avoid LaRocco, who fell right there in the main line. And look at Dowd.
Oh, my goodness. Dowdy is pulling up on our leader, Jeff Emig.
He caught him a lot faster than I expected.
Oh.
Emig sailing into that corner there, just floating over that little double jump. All of his lines are coming together, but Dowd is riding a lot more aggressive. Came inches from that fence right there, looking for a smooth line.
Stepping it up a bit now is Jeff Emig. Emig riding a little conservative, and then Dowdy just poured it on to catch up with our leader.
When you feel a guy coming this hot, if it's for the overall, you try and dig deep and hold him off. But for Jeff Emig right now. He doesn't have to hold off John Dowd to pick up the overall today.
Here's another example of a rider riding that's not 100% coming back from injury. John Dowd, who's just had a gutsy performance. He's a game fighter.
Well, it's hard to believe that he's not 100% right now with the way he's riding.
Just has some trouble with the hand still. Getting in on, oh no, Dowdy went down. He run it out.
Boy, that's a tough place to keep your balance in.
And now taking the energy to pick up your bike in that sandy soil, restart it as Lusk and Jeremy McGrath whiz by.
Oh, what a tough break right there. What happened was he went into that rut, leaned in nice, but then as he came out of the corner, he didn't follow through. He didn't stay leaning with the bike. Got a little off balance and just high-sided.
That was a good break for Jeremy McGrath and Ezra Lusk as well. Ezra in second place, McGrath in third. And already Lusk taking off.
Yeah, Lusk, the guy in the charge, moving around the fallen LaRocco and then the fallen John Dowd, had already made the pass on McGrath, so great ride for him.
A battle of independent Hondas. Buddy Antonez, number 19, and Larry Ward, number 6, Honda of Troy.
That's usually Larry Ward that gets the great starts, but that hole shot of Antonez, all you got to do is hole shot and put in a few real good laps, and then it's a long time before some of the guys start to catch up to you if they can. Start makes all the difference. Look at Jeff Emig.
And once again, John Dowd making another move on Jeremy McGrath. Jeremy just looks over and says, good luck, pal. Doesn't look like he can do much about it.
No, too much pain to go down that hill as fast as John Dowd came down there with a foot that's sore. Every time he starts to flex that or stretch his Achilles, that's where the pain comes in. So you can imagine how that feels hitting those braking bumps.
You saw Dowdy there flexing his left wrist too as he came around. We'll be back with the conclusion of this great race. Emig is our leader. Lusk in second. Can he catch him? Welcome back to Glen Helen Raceway. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Davey Coombs bringing you the action. We've seen a lot of different changes in the order here as Jeremy McGrath, number 2, now has Mike LaRocco behind him of Team Suzuki. Dowdy is right in front in third place, number 14.
Jeremy just trying to hang on, like I said, get through this weekend. Trying to let that foot heal a little bit before the next round. And now he's got his teammate LaRocco charging hard, so they just keep coming.
Both of them former champions. Of course, Jeremy McGrath last year, and the year before, Mike LaRocco. And Mike LaRocco moving in front of his Suzuki teammate.
It didn't look like Jeremy put up much of a fight there. If he was feeling 100%, I think that would have looked a little different.
Davey Coombs is in the mechanics area with Mike LaRocco Sr.
Mike, we've been keeping an eye on your son. He's running a solid second motor here. It seems to be getting faster as it goes on.
Yeah, he got a bad start. He's been moving up. He made a mistake earlier in the race. Now he's making up for that. But he's a long way from the leaders, and that's what we want.
Mike LaRocco trying to fight back into the action. Number 5, John Dowd out in front of him as he pursues him right now. Way out in front, Jeff Emig, though, taking advantage of Dowdy going down not long ago. Here comes LaRocco to the outside. Can Dowd hold him off? No, good angle. Late break.
Wow, that was beautiful. You could hear LaRocco just wide open around that sweeper. Knew that would put him to the inside. Great pass on Dowd, who really seems to be the fastest guy on the track this moto. I could change my thoughts around. Maybe it's LaRocco who's the one on the move.
So LaRocco, after nicking a hay bale and getting hung up, has come all the way back to move into third place. Does that sound familiar?
It sure does. It's a broken record. Always having to make up for something, whether it be a bad start or bad luck or an injury.
Well, not only that, but several riders going down and coming back and getting into the fray. But it's all to Jeff Emig's benefit, of course, that these riders are being hung up somehow, somewhere, as he's out in front looking for his 5th moto win in 6 motos this year. You know, there's been no back-to-back winner in the 90s in the 250 National Outdoors. But Jeff Emig is certainly making a statement here early for his 2nd consecutive title.
As long as he keeps having the success he's had so far, I mean, if he can win this one, it'll be 5 out of 6. Look at Dowd, though. Cuts all the way across. Passes LaRocco right back. Caught LaRocco sleeping there a little bit.
Boy, John Dowd is really putting it to him as Mike LaRocco gets back.
That was weird there. I don't know what happened to Mike, but it looked like something went wrong with LaRocco there, because that was a simple double jump. Came into that corner hot, and he just backed off.
Did he lose some power?
Didn't go for it.
Of course, earlier in the 125s, we had a big rock that crushed the pipe of Kevin Windham and took the power right out of his bike. And look at LaRocco now. He puts his eyes to the heavens. Yeah, something's wrong, definitely, no doubt.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, he looks okay physically. I don't see anything wrong with the motorcycle. Obviously something.
Mike LaRocco coasting toward the mechanics area, obviously to confer with his dad, who's the mechanic for the bike, has been his entire career. Albertine going, whoa, he gets dangerously close to the lame duck.
Well, I don't know. It didn't seem like he needed to get that close, but he made the pass. There's LaRocco's dad.
More frustration for a very competitive family. They just hate to lose.
LaRocco's done his share of winning over the years. 500 title, 250 title. He's never been able to put it together in the Supercross. He almost had a 125 title before losing it to Jeff Emig.
And that was on the last moto of the year. I think it was 1992, Jeff Emig winning that 125 title. There we'll get an idea from Davey Coombs a little bit later of what this conversation was about. LaRocco deciding to go back on the track. So evidently it's still runnable as we take a look at Jeremy McGrath. McGrath and Albertine. These two have been in the battle all day long. Albertine coming up from behind. Jeremy McGrath trying to hold off people.
I don't believe how Albertine has been able to regroup from that horrible crash. Add that one to the highlight reel. And he's picked himself up from that and caught right back up. He was ahead of Jeremy when he fell, and here he is again with a chance to get around him.
In the top 5, battling for the 4th position. Jeff Emig still our leader. Back to Glen Helen Raceway as we look toward the conclusion of our second moto of 250s. Jeff Emig out in front, looking to sweep both motos here at Glen Helen and increase his points lead. Our battle on the camera now is Jeremy McGrath and teammate Greg Albertine going back and forth in the battle for 4th place. Albertine, as incredible as it may seem, has come up from like 17th to challenge in the top 5. And it looks right now he's going to go into 4th position, getting around Jeremy McGrath. Right here is where he loves to pour it on.
Boy, just barely. He landed and just somehow landed in that berm. You come up over the top of that hill blind. He landed right in the right berm, was able to make that pass. Number plate's all bent out to the side. He's coming into the corner where he crashed earlier.
Let's go trackside for an update on Jeremy McGrath. Davey?
Why, it looks like Jeremy's slowing down. You got any signals from him or anything?
No, I know he's in a lot of pain, though. Like I said before, the calf, when he came in, his calf was hurting quite a bit. I know they worked on him quite a bit in between the motos. And said he took a whole lot of pills and stuff. I mean, just to try to take the cramps away. So, you know, I know that was something that was a big concern of his, and right now I'm sure it's playing a part.
We'll keep an eye on him.
Thanks.
It's obvious, David, that the muscles are overcompensating for the injury that he's had. I don't know, it might be something like a woman wearing high heels for years and then wearing flats. The muscles just aren't calibrated for that.
Yeah, they won't relax, and every time he arches that foot or brings his toe back up towards him and stretches that Achilles, it's where the pain comes in, and from what I understand anyways. And you know, trying to ride around a motocross track, I mean, just watch the body and watch how much the bike dances around and the pace you've got to ride. You're taking chances out there. It's a little scary, especially those big up and down hills. And for Jeremy, this, like I said, he's got to just get through today, try to get that thing healthy so he can try to begin to chip away at Emig's lead.
And if he were to get up on the balls of his feet, you see there casing that little jump there, then it would also have a tendency to pull on the stitches on the back of his heel.
Either way you look at it, it's a pretty picture. It's a really weird thing that's happened to Jeremy. I mean, just to step on some dishes, I mean, come on. It's I guess that's what it takes to take Jeremy out of that dominance that he's had for the past 4 or 5 years.
What we're seeing right now is Greg Albertine making a move on John Dowd.
He has definitely caught him. This would be an amazing performance if he can get around Dowd, who also was riding great. I actually had an opportunity to get around Emig until he tipped over in that rut. He regrouped, but I think if you look at the difference between Dowd's mistake and Albertine, I mean, Albertine hit the deck hard. Something on his bike, I would imagine the levers or handlebars got to be bent, and he's still coming back for more.
It's incredible what Albertine has done. Fans waving the white towels for him as he goes by. John Dowd in third right now. Albertine is looking to try to get on the podium and a possible second overall.
Albertine really starting to position himself to be a contender for the title. He's had a little bad luck here and there, but
especially at Gatorback. Got behind early in the first round.
You look at his performance at the last National in Hangtown, and then today, if he can make this move on Dowd to the inside, no problem. That'll give him 2 seconds, a third, and a first.
Well, he had a good run of podiums toward the end of the Supercross season as well.
Yeah, he's really started to improve. I think that Jeremy coming over to the team has raised the level of everybody and perhaps helped him develop that bike to be a little bit better during the Supercross and the outdoors. And Albertine, through the same corner he crashed in earlier, comfortable enough to reach up and pull a tear off.
After passing John Dowd, moving into third. So it's Emig, Lusk, and Albertine here in our second moto. The reason why we haven't seen much of Jeff Emig, by the way, is that he's just got such a tremendous lead, and we've been trying to stay with the actual battles on the track rather than just show you Emig going around the track in a very smooth, deliberate, quick style.
It probably doesn't look like much to show Jeff, but it'd probably be hard to tell him now. He's like, hey, come on, man. Winning all these races, you don't show me ever. We'll get to you, Jeff.
Here's our Honda summary. Emig, Lusk, Albertine, Dowd, and McGrath, the top 5. The race to the checkers when we come back. Cross on ESPN2 has been brought to you by Honda. Between now and May 31st, you can get a great deal on a great bike during the Honda Ride-Off. Honda, walk in, ride off. We're back at Glen Helen Raceway, where number 1 is looking to be number 1 again. He won the first moto after an early 5-minute skirmish with Doug Henry, taking off and taking the checkered flag easily. It looks like an easier win here in Moto 2.
He's just cruising along. You wonder what his mechanic Jeremy Albrecht can put on the chalkboard just to keep him interested.
Emig has never finished out of the top 5 in the final point standings in a 125 or 250 national since 1990. That's a lot of consistency as he snuck up to take a lot of the glory away from Jeremy McGrath this year.
Well, he's got the consistency part down. Now he's got the winning down, and with his starts, experience, and being able to close out a title, beating Jeremy the way he did at the last moto in Belmont. And I don't know. It looks to me like the momentum has switched over to Emig, and with the lead that he's got now, I don't know who the heck can catch him. Albertine's pretty close, and the only other guy with the speed right now, but Albertine just hasn't proven to me the consistency that Emig has.
Well, the only way we've seen it in the past is injury. Of course, last year, Jeremy McGrath getting the knee injury, and Emig was right in the right places. He had 8 second-place finishes to keep him in the hunt to go along with his 4 wins. And round 11, he would take over the points leadership and then win the title. That could happen in reverse this year if somebody steps up to challenge.
And he knows it too. That's something that you know as a racer. It's in the back of your mind, but the last thing you want to do is focus on it, think about it. And for his mechanic and everybody at Kawasaki and his friends, it's best to just keep him focused and keep him out there winning races, do what he's been doing. We heard Carmichael say, well, I've been winning and it's going to keep doing what I've been doing. It's working.
Well, if he wins the Supercross title in that final race in Las Vegas, that would make him the oldest first-time Supercross rider at the ripe old age of 26.
That's amazing.
That seems incredible, doesn't it?
Yeah, to be, you know, thinking about retirement, at least that's somewhere in your thoughts at around the age of 26, 27. But that's the beauty of motocross. You start when you're young, travel the world, you get paid big dollars, win these titles, and then you get the rest of your life.
The checkered flag for Jeff Emig. So it is now 5 wins in 6 motos to start off the year. And what a happy day it is for Ezra Lusk and Greg Albertine, both fighting through some tough weather here today. Emig, Lusk, Albertine, Dowd, and McGrath, the top 5 in our second moto. Checking out 6 through 10, Buddy Antonez, a good performance, holding on to 6. Davey Coombs is with our winner.
Well, that's about as convincing as performance we've seen this year.
Yeah, I feel great. I had a little bit of pressure from Yogi there in the middle of the race, but overall, I just stayed real cool and real relaxed, and tried just focusing on really good lines, because that's, that was so important. The big downhills were just really gnarly, but I tried not really pushing it down those. I tried to make up time on the rest of the track by being smooth and relaxed. But Team Kawasaki and my mechanic Jeremy Albrecht they're the ones who are really pushing me and making this thing happen.
So Jeff Emig just simply pulls further away from Jeremy McGrath in the points with the sweep here today. Davey Coombs is with Yogi.
Yogi, that was a great ride in the second moto. Probably your best outdoor ride of the year.
Yeah, of course. I finished 2 motos in a row, so I'm happy. 6-2, that's good. I woke up a little bit under the weather this morning, and I didn't really have a lot of energy. I felt much better out there the second moto than I did the first. And, my Yamaha just come out that great, really good, both motos, and Bridgestone tires hooked up great off that concrete. My AGV helmet, Scott USA, Fox Racing, CTI knee braces, and the good Lord Jesus Christ. With that package, I just couldn't be stopped coming to the front in that second moto.
Well, David Bailey, Jeff Emig now with a 36-point lead, and we're only after the 3rd round. Team Suzuki's Greg Albertine also getting into that top 3.
Well, what they're going to have to do is try and take the rhythm away from Jeff Emig by beating him off the start, forcing him to race at the end of the race as well as just in the beginning. And just continue to chip away, keep the pressure on. Only way.
Jeff Emig winning 5 of this year's 6 motos. Art Ekman along with David Bailey and Davey Coombs saying we'll be joining you next for the final Supercross of the year from Las Vegas. This has been a production of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.